Welcome back everybody to linuxacademy.com. My name is Terry, and in today's course we continue our preparation for the Linux Foundation Certified System Administration exam. So in our previous video, one of the things that we did is we set up the Squid proxy server. We also installed something called SquidGuard that we didn't talk about at the time, but we'll be getting to here shortly. But we demonstrated how to set up a client to use the Squid proxy to access the web. And when that proxy isn't available, how that HTTP client, in our case, Mozilla Firefox running on OS X, but it could be Firefox or any other web browser or application that requires a proxy or protocol, we showed how it would react when that proxy server goes away. So one of the things that we've done is on the server where we have Squid set up, we indicated what should have access to that proxy server. So if you'll remember, we went to the etc squid directory, and there is a squid.configuration file which we configured for a basic configuration for Squid. So if we take a look at that, one of the things that we did is we added a local net source that says if you're in any of these local networks, we created this shortcut for local networks so that anytime we mention local net, that can be 10.0 network, 172.network, 192.network. And then we indicated that we wanted to allow access to anything that was indicated as a manager or as a local host, a local net, and a local host, and then we denied everything else. But what we can do if we want to restrict access, for example, to a specific IP while allowing access to everything else on the network, we can do that. So if let's minimize here. We'll minimize our virtual machine, and we will go to our proxy server, our web browser rather, and we'll configure our proxy server. So if we go over here to settings, we'll reuse our manual proxy configuration. We'll change the IP as appropriate for our current proxy server, and we'll indicate that it's on 1.131, which is our proxy server currently. So now if we look at google.com, that should be coming from our proxy server address. For this IP, 192.168.1.75 should be what shows up in our access logs. So let's go ahead and bring back up our server, and what we'll do is we'll check and make sure that what we have is this particular proxy server answering for that connection. And we'll do that by doing a service Squid stop. Now Squid will take a few minutes to stop, but we can go ahead and again, we can minimize this, and we can go to another website, and you'll see we haven't changed any configuration, and we see that the requested URL cannot be received because the cache is in process of shutting down and can't service our request. Once it's shut down, it'll say that the proxy server has gone away. So we can see that this is configured for our proxy server. And once we bring the proxy server back up, once it's stopped, we can actually see that the Squid proxy server, once it started, is serving our connection. And the only reason that we're doing this is to verify that our browser is currently set up so that it can use the Squid proxy server for browsing the internet. So now that we've done that, what we want to look at is we can restrict the IP address of our system, which from our terminal we know is 192.168.1.175, without shutting down the proxy service for everyone else running. We can define a local ACL directive from within our configuration. So what we'll do here is let's edit our squid.configuration, and we'll define a new directive. So up here at the top, somewhere in the ACL list, what we'll do is we'll do O, and we'll do ACL, and we can call it whatever we want. In this case, let's call it no OSX. And we'll say that anytime that the source falls within that, which is 192.168.1.75 /32, then all we're going to say is it's a custom network address to exclude. Now, the /32 simply means it's the only IP address that we're going to exclude in this network, but since it's a single IP, we don't need to do that. We've actually filled out all the octets, so we don't need to do that. So now we need to add the ACL directive to the local net access that's already in place, but all we do here is preface it with an exclamation sign. So if we find the local net right here, we say allow everything on the local net except for no OSX. And what that will do is once we restart the Squid proxy server, it will tell us that the proxy server is not serving connections for this particular IP. So now we've added that. So let's do a service Squid restart. And once Squid has restarted, we'll minimize this and we'll go to our browser. We'll click on one of the CNN links and we'll see what we see. Okay, Squid has been started, so we'll go ahead and minimize this. We'll choose any of the pleasant links, and it says the following error was encountered while trying to retrieve this URL. And you'll notice it wasn't that the proxy server has gone away. It also wasn't that the proxy server is down. It says that access has been denied. Access control configuration prevents your request from being allowed at this time and to contact the server provider. So at a high level, this is simply a way of restricting access to the Squid proxy, and we could do this by network. So if we had defined a Class A or Class B network, then what we could do is we could define smaller Class B or Class C networks that we wanted to exclude from the proxy server. So if I were running a public proxy across a large range of addresses, I may have certain offices, I may have certain people that I wanted to exclude from being able to use the proxy and therefore browse the web from that proxy. So for restricting access to the Squid proxy server, that's all there is to it. My name is Terry for Linux Academy.